Once again, guys, there's a massive shakeup and the top stocks that were bought by us. And honestly, it's just bonkers this time all the way around. We got stock shuffling all over the place, but let's take a little bit of a different approach this time. Let's talk about not only the stocks themselves, what we were buying, are they good, are they bad, my opinion on all of them, but I'll also tell you if I'm bullish or not on those stocks and their future of those particular companies. So let's talk about all that today right after you like the video, if you like getting the truth out the hype, because that is exactly what you're going to get today, guys, and that's what this channel is all about. I remember, these are not my stock picks. There's always somebody that comments, these are terrible picks. Why would you pick these stocks? I'm like, they're not mine, guys. These are the stocks that we were buying as retail investors, picked up over the past month, the ones we were buying in mass. And keep in mind, I'm looking at this from a long-term buy and hold investor's perspective. I am not looking at this from any other lens. There may be a trade there. There may be an option play there, maybe lots of things there. I don't know, but I can only judge these from a long-term buy and hold investor's perspective. And that right there is what we're going to talk about today. Hey, I got it. If you want to talk about trading, there's other channels for that, other great channels for that. It's not what we do here. We're long-term buy and hold investors. But enough of that. Let's start off with number 10, which is Palantir, which is back on the list. It actually fell off the list last month, and it's back on the list this month there. Now, that's good news to me because it was actually going down coming into earnings here. Again, remember, these were July buys. So based upon that, it looks like we were buying the dip on Palantir. Obviously, it's rocketed up since then. So great job by us as retail investors there. It had fallen off the month before as it was falling, which was a little bit concerning, but obviously it came back on this month right before earnings. We'll see how it shakes out here whenever we get the list for next month in regards to what all we're doing right now, the month of August with Palantir. But man, you guys know I am super bullish on Palantir. I have been bullish on Palantir from the start. I just felt it was overvalued in 2021 when it was up over 40 bucks. So I held off buying it or, really doing anything with it until we got down underneath that $20 range. And then of course, when we got underneath 10, it was just Wall Street being stupid at that stage. So it was easy buy, easy pick up at that stage for about 3 years before it took off on us again. And I don't know what else to say about it, guys. Great stock, blistering, incredible, all-time great string of earnings calls here in regards to what they've been doing on earnings, the fundamentals, which is what matters. Yes, the stock price ran out ahead, but I don't think we're going to get a 5-year stagnation journey like we got with Tesla, or, we're approaching 5 years. Who knows how long that lasts with Tesla right now? Because right now, if you bought at that peak in 2021 with Tesla, you're still down a lot in regards to where that headed there. So because of those incredible fundamental performance, it's quickly moved back towards fair value much faster than, so that stagnation journey, even though we talked about it maybe a year or two, man, might very well be less than that if they continue to put up earnings performance like that. So great job by us picking up Palantir. Of course, I'd like to see it higher on the list, but given the fact it fell off last time, and it was actually number 7 prior to that, and then it fell off all the way. So it went from number 7 to not on the list. Back on 10, I'll take it for now. But stock number 9 is Microsoft, and this one keeps falling. Now, I'm hoping it keeps falling because we got a huge buy the dip opportunity in Microsoft. Obviously, it was much higher on the list during that time, so hopefully we're buying it up, and now it's had a bit of a run. We've kind of cooled off on it a little bit, but I'm definitely bullish on Microsoft long-term. Great company. I believe they're going to be one of the winners in the AI race. There's going to be lots of winners. We talk about that all the time. There's not one winner to rule them all, or it's not this zero-sum game like everybody, all the Wall Street folks like to put out there. There's going to be just like the internet, right? That was the same narrative around the internet. Yeah, there's thousands of winners with the internet. So definitely, I believe Microsoft's going to be one of the big winners. However, the next stock I love, but it didn't get love on this list until it had gone on a huge run, and that stock is Google. And you guys know we were banging the drum for years here on this channel. I couldn't tell you, I was getting beat up in the comments every time I mentioned Google. Dead money, going nowhere. Behind in the AI race, going nowhere. And it was just like, guys, look at the fundamentals, look at the earnings. Search is not dead, it's growing. Double digits, by the way. Every single metric that Google has outside of their CapEx spend right now is unbelievable and accelerating. And just, I'm so excited for Google. I believe it's got more legs to run long-term in regards to this. Obviously, the next year is going to be ugly from a CapEx perspective, just like most of big tech is. But I believe this one does have more legs. It's unfortunate we didn't want a whole heck of a lot to do with it in the low 100s, 150s or so. Obviously, when it's a big run, then all of a sudden everybody's interested in it as a whole. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys here on this channel were scooping up shares like crazy, just like we were. But it's good to see it still on the list, and I do believe it has more legs to run, just like number 7, which is AMD, which is another stock that was not on the list for a long time and then had a big run and then jumped on the list there. It was definitely, and it had a big move up really quick. So it was definitely another one that we were chasing instead of getting in on it early there. That's okay. It's a great company. I do believe it. I'm bullish on it long term. I believe it has a great future long term. And I do believe there's more legs to run in this current part of the chip cycle. Now, I am by no means a chip expert. A lot of things within that business model elude me. However, I do defer to some of our experts in my group who are experts in that area who have, you know, 30, 40 years worth of experience in that particular sector. And whenever they say, hey, there's more coming with this cycle here, it's not over with yet. And it's going to be interesting to see how they pivot as the cycle goes out as well and moves into that next phase. How are they going to handle that? They all feel AMD is going to handle it just fine. So definitely, makes me feel bullish on this stock long term as well. But we got to talk about number six, and that stock is Ford. Again, we talk about it all the time. Don't know why it's on here. I am not bullish on this company at all. I'm not bullish on any American auto whatsoever, or really any foreign auto company to be there. It's a tough business. Margins continue to get squeezed. There are all kinds of albatrosses all over every one of their balance sheets, with the exception of Tesla. They have different problems than legacy auto does. But nonetheless, problems are problems, and it's a hard business, and it's going to continue to get harder into the future. So it's one again, I can't understand why we continue to buy it. I would much rather own every single stock we just talked about, infinity times more than Ford. But hey, I've got to go what's on the list. We got to talk about it. Definitely bearish on this stock long term. Definitely not one I'm looking to buy at all. But number five is Amazon. And you guys know I love Amazon. It's another one. Finally got some respect on its earnings there. Had a big, nice run up there. I kind of felt like, we talked about it earlier on in the year that Amazon had that same feeling once Google popped off that, hey, it was just next in line to be beat down and wait for its run. And hey, what do you know? Amazon's awoken. And I believe it has a lot more legs than Google in a sense, only because it hasn't had near the price appreciation that Google's gotten here lately, or near the credit, quote unquote, for its portion in the AI race. But there's no doubt in my mind, Amazon is going to put up some amazing numbers once they get through this CapEx cycle. Even if AI isn't all it's going to be, their core business is so great that I'm nothing but bullish on Amazon. It's definitely one I find it hard not to just continue DCA, and even given the current price reaction to everything, and given how it has run up and kind of exploded up there significantly, it's really, really hard not DCA into it because that business is that good. I absolutely love it. So for me, I'm bullish on Amazon all the way around. Great job by you guys picking that stock. But on to number four, and that stock is Apple. And you guys know, if you've been on this channel for any length of time, Apple is my favorite stock of all time. It was one of my very first huge winners, bought way back in the early 2000s, and it's just an unbelievable company that prints cash. Now, the question is the new CEO going to continue right on with the Tim Cook model, or is he going to use the Tim Cook model in regards to running the business, right? Because you can't argue that the business side of Apple has not been incredible, and then start moving, leave that in place while also looking to expand and get we'll say, a little less safe and a little more leading forward in regards to product development, taking chances, things of that nature, trying to have that next hit product. Because man, it just continues to climb in regards to share price. And imagine if they had a hit product. That's with really no innovation in years and no AI to speak of, right? And yet there it is, approaching all-time highs once again. They're one hit product away from really re-accelerating that growth engine that they have there. But man, there's few businesses that are better run than Apple, more consistent than Apple, and of course that prints money like Apple does. More importantly, we're talking, a handful, two, three at max, that do all those things. And so absolutely great job by you guys adding just a nice, safe, easy play there. But now we get into kind of the wild stuff here. And hopefully you guys can explain it to me down in the comments. I'm going to try to make the most sense of it, that I can here. This is my best guess. But coming in at number three is SpaceX. And I'm hoping this is folks that didn't get caught up in the hype of the initial IPO, now liking the pullback and deciding it's worth taking a risk and starting to get in there. Now, it was also number three whenever it IPO'd, and it was that ridiculous, and just rocketed straight up as well. So I don't know which it is, if it's the same folks now trying to buy the dip and lower their average. For me, SpaceX is a no-go right now. I need to see more earnings, better earnings performance. We went through the earnings live stream there with my group in regards to SpaceX, and you can see it plain as day that when you actually lifted the hood underneath the numbers a little bit, yeah, there's some things pulled forward. There's some other things going on there, and we're a long way off from profitability, more importantly. And even if I apply profits to it, despite the massive drop down from those all-time highs, it's still significantly overvalued, more overvalued than Tesla in 2021. That's how overvalued it is right now still. Now, it doesn't mean it can't run. Right now, it's in those weird traders as the IPO process kind of works out and the lockup periods all start to expire and things of that nature. It's in that weird, what's Wall Street going to do with it? How are they going to treat that? Who is going to actually sell on the lockout? Who's going to actually stick with it and stick with it longer there in regards to that? But man, there is a lot of good and a lot of not so good that was all over that earnings report there. It was to call it mixed, and it was a weird mix. It wasn't kind of, oh, that was a little good, oh, that was a little bad. Ooh, that I kind of need to watch that there a little bit. It was like, massive red flag, or wow, that's really incredible there. And a lot of it requires you to, well, don't take that at face value, dig into it a little bit deeper. And when you dig into it a little bit deeper, it either wasn't as bad as you thought, or wow, that good number really wasn't all that good when you take all those other factors into account there. So definitely one that for me, if it was Starlink and Starlink alone, and that was what was driving SpaceX and it didn't have all the other stuff with it, man, that business is incredible there. But in regards to me, I'm this one right here is firmly trader controlled. I'm not sure I'm bullish or bearish on it. I just feel like this one needs a lot more time to shake out and to figure out what the heck's going to happen before we have anything predicted in regards to that. Back to 200 would not surprise me. All the way down to 50 bucks wouldn't surprise me either in regards to the stock. And you can make a case even below 50 if you wanted to try to put valuation to it, because that's about where the value is in regards to what they're producing right now. But again, it's SpaceX, it's Elon. Who freaking knows what's going to happen? And it's going to be a wild ride. That's all that I know. And then I guess we'll just talk about number two, which is Tesla. Which again, the big thing right there with Tesla is, all right, what's the deal with SpaceX? What is, obviously you can see that they're already working together on 100 different things anyways. Is, SpaceX going to buy a Tesla? How is that all going to work out? Obviously we were there buying Tesla. Thankfully, it did get cheaper there. It did fall off those highs, but Tesla stays high on this list regardless of whether it's on a dip at an all-time high. Really kind of stays high on that. Matter of fact, a lot of times whenever it's at all-time highs, it's at number one on this list there. That there's no more hype stock in the stock market than Tesla, but they have business problems right now. There are a lot of things not necessarily going their way, and a lot of their big projects that are going to print bottom line dollars are super capex intensive, and right now they're years away, and some of them are decades away. I know a lot of folks don't like to admit that, but every year it's next year. Every year it's next year, and it's like, hey, yeah, we keep hearing the same thing, and there's always big presentations and big promises, but every time it's next year. But when you just look through a lot of these sort of things logically, even with robo-taxi and a lot of other things of that nature, how much did that make up of the financials this time? It's not. It's losing money right now. That's okay. That's part of the business. It's part of growing that style business. It's going to take time, but we haven't even gone through all the regulation and all the other things involved in that sort of stuff. So Tesla is definitely a long play there, and seeing it number two, well, that's par for the course for Tesla there in regards to the retail investor. But moving on to number one, and that stock is Nvidia. And yeah, great job by you guys there. Nvidia has gotten significantly cheaper. I understand it's at maybe the tail end of the chip cycle there, like we just talked about. But man, gosh, you just look at the valuation between Tesla and Nvidia, and it's just like, this isn't even close here in regards to the deal that you're getting there. So great job by you guys picking that up there. Really, you guys have been doing wonderful at picking up the dip on Nvidia and getting it at reasonable valuations for years now. So excellent job by you guys out there picking up that stock. It's definitely one I am bullish on long term. I believe, just like with AMD, they're one of the winners. They're one of the ones that are on the bleeding edge in regards to chip technology and whatever the heck is next out there that we don't know what's coming yet, right? It seems like these guys kind of keep these things pretty much under wrap, and then they kind of surprise you with it, and then it's off to the races from there. So great job by you guys overall. And if you want to see my list, my actual list of stocks that I want to buy, complete with price targets, and you want your free fiscal AI tool, I give you guys the max tier. It's $1,000 if you buy it on your own, almost $1,000, excuse me. If you buy it out there on your own, I'm giving it to you free as long as you stay a member on my group. You get to keep that max tier with Fiscal AI. Plus, you get the free courses, free coaching. Guys, there's nobody that has more offered in their group than we do for the price. So check it out. It's the pinned comment down there. I may have left something special for those of you guys that stuck around this long. Check it out, see if a membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.